And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
We applaud you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool.
Yes, there he is, P. Diddy and Barack Obama. Justin Bieber was there, but you couldn't see him at that moment because he was... Where was he, Michael? Why couldn't we see Justin Bieber? The underage, the 16-year-old boy, Democrats, they're not like normal people. So Barack Obama and his buddy P. Diddy, he's accused and alleged, serial rapist, sex abuser, now child sex abuser, boys, girls, goats, camels. Keep the house pets away from him. And Barack Obama, he digs them big. See, we got that. Very cool. Now, does Barack Obama get the free money from Kamala if he wants to open a business? What is that, a non-refundable loan? You don't have to pay. It's not a loan if it's a giveaway. It's other people's money. And it's illegal as hell, unconstitutional. But haktui, what do they care about? And the Constitution, but I went backward there for just a moment. But the just amazing stuff. The Democrats, Kamala has a list of free stuff because she's not doing as well in the polls as they had hoped with African-American men in terms of voting, right? So they call them forgivable loans. What is that, like what you give your 5-year-old when they lose a tooth or something? Here, it's a forgivable loan to black entrepreneurs, but not to white entrepreneurs, not to Asian entrepreneurs, not to Latinx entrepreneurs who have no gender at all, no identifiable genitalia of any kind. But 1 million of these forgivable loans. Why 1 million, Michael? Why that number? Shouldn't it be 40 million forgivable loans for black people from all over the world? Because we're a terrible, guilty country. Amazing stuff. And legalizing recreational marijuana, because that's what black men want. Here, this agenda by Kamala tells you everything you need to know about what the Democrats think of black men in America. Here's some cash. Here's some walking around money. Buy yourself something real nice. And we're going to legalize the reefer. We're legalizing pot for recreational purpose, because we know that you're a bunch of stoners and you want nothing more than to be stoned day and night so that, you never go anywhere, because then I got high. We should play Then I Got High today, shouldn't we, Michael? I was going to clean my room, then I got high. And this is the Democrats' plan for African-American men. It's amazing stuff. The legalizing recreational marijuana, and you get free beer and chips. You get free beer and a bag of chips with this, too, because you're black. And the Democrats know they're shoring up support among black voters, in particular black men, because the polls show they're not doing very well. So here's some cash. Here's some reefer. Got a 6-pack, maybe a 40, and a bag of chips, because we got that going for you. And opportunities for black Americans to succeed in this new industry. The industry is not new. It's drug dealing. See, that's the thing. They hate big pharma, but now they got a new one that they like, because they're putting the Corleone family out of business. They got, and also sex workers. They've got gambling. They took over the gambling. The Democrats did. They got casinos everywhere. You don't even have to be a Native American tribesman or anything like that. Christopher Columbus. Happy Columbus Day, everybody. We had Italian food last night, a nice Italian dinner, because it was Christopher Columbus, who discovered America. And that's real nice. But this is the Democrats' plan. And supporting a regulatory framework. You know how they love regulatory frameworks. For cryptocurrency and other digital assets. What that has to do with black men voters, I don't know, but I'm sure the Democrats have a study on it from a university somewhere. So here's some cash. Here's some free cash. And here's your stash. Do you get a free pipe or anything? You get papers, rolling papers for life, because that's important. You can't just, have and then opportunities for black men to succeed in this new industry, which is dealing drugs. So the Democrats, they've got it figured out. The party of slavery and Jim Crow and the bullwhip and all that stuff, just amazing. And they're going to launch a new national health equity initiative focused on black men. Black men. Nobody else, just black men. This is white liberal guilt. And now they've got black liberal guilt and half Indian, half black liberal guilt. Pretty amazing stuff. And cryptocurrency, what that has to do with anything, I don't know. Just amazing stuff. So, Democrats, if it weren't for racism, what would they do with all their time, really? And I was my best girl and I, we were talking last night about the news and looking at what the Democrats are promising and talking about what racists they are and all that stuff. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. And then I realized, wait a minute, you remember when Kamala, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, said, oh, yeah, do you own a gun? Do you own a gun? Oh, she's like, bleep, yeah, blah, I own a gun. Wait, oh, really? What kind of gun do you own?
You recently surprised people when you said that you are a gun owner. And then if someone came into your house...
That was not the first time I've talked about it. That's not the first time I've talked about it.
So what kind of gun do you own, and when and why did you get it?
I have a Glock, and I've had it for quite some time.
See, that turns out that was an early indicator she was going for the black male vote. That was her, like, hey, wait a minute, we're soft in the polls with black males. Go out and say you own a Glock. And then we'll say we're going to give them cash and reefer and, a 40 and some chips, because the Democrats, they're nothing if not Democrats. They're the biggest bunch of racists you ever seen.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
They laugh hysterically at people getting shot. See, that's your Democrat party. How many people would Democrats shoot this year? I believe the number is approximately 20,000 people. Approximately 20,000 people in the United States. That's just from memory, back of the envelope. But they shoot a lot of people, the Democrats, and you know how they are. But you get free reefer and forgivable loans. That's a new term that I don't think the government has ever used before. Forgivable loans. At the end of the Civil War, the first American Civil War, the Democrats, they lost. The Democrats were the Confederate States of America, and their Democrat president, Jefferson Davis, and the Democrat leader, Nathan Bedford Forrest, started the KKK and all that stuff. Republicans had a plan, this 40 acres and a mule plan, where if you're a former slave, you get 40 acres from the slave owners, from the Democrats, and a mule, because you need a mule to drag around your plow and stuff. And the Republicans had this plan. The Democrats, they put the kibosh on that. They made that stop. Not to bring Hebrew into it or anything, but the kibosh. But they put an end to that because the Democrats kept women from, you see this, Hillary Clinton has a Broadway play. She's got a Broadway play. And it's going bankrupt. It's because it's being run by Hillary and Democrats, and everything they touch turns to beep and goes bankrupt at best. And her big play called Suffs. It's a stupid name for a play, Suffs. It's about the suffragettes, the women of the suffrage movement, that is, women getting the vote, the 19th Amendment. Democrats fought vociferously for 2 decades to prevent women from getting the vote. Not too terribly long after they had their slaves taken away, the Democrats. Just amazing. I'm telling you. And they're so crazy, though. They've kept the bullwhip alive all these years, haven't they? You ever see that Robert Mapplethorpe photographs? The bullwhip lives on in their lives or somewhere, these people. But I digress. Amazing stuff. So we've got a lot for you today because the Democrats have been busy the last 21 hours since we last met. And there's more because Kamala, she was the author, co-author of a book. And now somebody finally looked at the book. Nobody at the New York Times or CNN ever looked at it, but they voted for her anyway. Turns out Kamala Harris, you know how Joe Biden is a famous and notorious plagiarist because he plagiarized so much stuff, stealing other people's work. And now Kamala Harris accused of plagiarism in co-authored 2009 book. And it's full of plagiarized stuff. Big swaths of the book, long passages. They steal from other people and from press releases and academic work and even Wikipedia. Just stealing stuff all the time. Intellectual laziness is her middle name. Just amazing. I'm sorry I used the word intellectual in the same sentence as Kamala Harris's name. Amazing, amazing stuff. And the New York Times, they've got big lies. That's what they do. They lie. New York Times lies to downplay racist Kamala plagiarism scandal. They actually call it racist, the New York Times. And Chris Rufo, who does great work all the time and has for so long, doing great stuff, Chris Rufo, and he took a look at the plagiarism and put together a wonderful piece on that. J.D. Vance mocked, he's got a New York Times bestseller as Hillbilly Elegy and about his own life. And J.D. Vance mocks Kamala Harris over a plagiarism accusation, and he says, I wrote my own book. So he did. He wrote his own book, whereas Kamala Harris, they just grab stuff from other places and amazing stuff. And as I was mentioning, in pitch to black men, because the party of Jim Crow, they just want that black vote. They think they've earned it somehow. Harris proposes forgivable loans to black entrepreneurs. Amazing. Bill Clinton was on the loose yesterday. He was just dogging some women. He said, I'll do. Will there be women there? Will there be? And they say, yeah, Bill, there will be women there. I said, okay, I'll do it. And then did he have another heart attack or something? Because it's amazing stuff. But Bill Clinton, and this is the Gateway Pundit, yikes is the headline. In jaw-dropping statement, Bill Clinton admits Kamala Harris is responsible for murder of Laken Riley. Laken Riley, who was raped and murdered, a 22-year-old college student by an illegal alien from Venezuela. They love these Venezuelans, don't they? Especially the criminal Venezuelans. From Aurora, Aurora, Colorado. President Trump said when he was in Aurora, Colorado, when he becomes president again, he's going to launch what he calls Operation Aurora, named for what happened in Aurora, Colorado, and the illegal alien gang members from Venezuela that the Democrats want to sleep with, as they do with some of the strangest people. But amazing stuff. And President Trump draws attention to it, and then the news media, like Martha Raddatz, they attack people. How dare, it's just a small number of apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado, taken over by a Venezuelan transnational gang. Now, when you say transnational gang, does that mean that they dress like ladies? Is that because that's usually what the word trans means when Democrats use the prefix trans? Amazing stuff. So we got that. We've got lots of stuff for you, man, oh man, I'm telling you. And the nice lady who was in that apartment building, it was her doorbell ring cam that made the video of the gang members with the rifle and the pistols and smashing the door away that Martha Raddatz didn't show on her Sunday morning talk show on Sunday, disgracing herself and journalism and Western civilization. But that's okay. And the lady whose video was that you're familiar with, I think, she spoke a little bit, and she said it's a slap in the face that the media and the government are downplaying the Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado. She's had to flee not only her apartment and her apartment complex. I believe she's left Aurora, Colorado because of the terror that the Democrats have unleashed in the United States. Amazing stuff. The news media on Donald Trump he talked about the enemy within. And so the Democrat Party said he's going to use the military to attack his enemies in the United States because they're sick. They're a sick bunch of people. And Democrats, just a tip, stop shooting people. How about that? That'd be really good. We've got News out of Detroit and the automobile industry, which President Trump says he will save. I've got an update for you on Christopher Columbus. That doesn't happen very often, but I do. The Democrats stormed Wall Street yesterday because they hate the Jews. Even their Jews hate the Jews. Attacking Wall Street to prove that they're anti-Israel and pro-Iran, pro-Hamas. We got lots of stuff, I'm telling you. Update on hurricanes in North Carolina. And the crop reports are in. The new crop reports are in. I feel like Clarence Beeks in Trading Places. But the new crop reports are in. I've got the inside information for you. They don't yet have frozen concentrated orange juice, but I'll get to that. And LGBTQ, especially T, Democrats playing against women in sports. We're at 888-630-9625. Okay, let's take a telephone call, Michael. So much to get to. LGBTQ volleyball. Got UFOs. Well, kind of UFOs coming up. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Ivan calling from Miramar Beach, Florida. Ivan, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, good morning, Chris. How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Hey, Chris, I don't know if you remember, but probably about 10 years ago, I called in on Martin Luther King Day, and I told you that I had a dream. You know, I played off Martin Luther King. I said I have a dream that black people will stop listening to, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, and will think to them for themselves. And Chris, I think the day's finally arrived. I think the dam is breaking. I don't know if you've seen it. I called in yesterday. I couldn't get through. But Benny Johnson has a video that's going viral of black podcasters and influencers. They're destroying Barack Obama for shilling for Kamala. They brought out Barack Obama to shill for Kamala, and then he's shaming black men for leaving the plantation and for thinking for themselves. And they are saying, shut the blank up. You are not the king of black men. You are not the ruler of black men. You cannot tell us what to do and what to think. Chris, it's campaign gold. I mean, if you haven't pulled it up, you got to pull it up. It's real. It's just awesome. It just says it right away. It's got a lot of curse. It's got some cursing in it.
Yeah.
But it's everyday black people. It's not your traditional caricatures of like Clarence Thomas. But it's everyday black people in the hood saying, no, you can't tell us what to do. You can't tell us what to think. And Jesse Waters did the same thing, Chris. He's got blacks in Brooklyn, who are every single one of them are supporting Trump and destroying Kamala.
But Ivan, what about the forgivable loans and legalizing recreational marijuana? And I got a Glock. Democrats, they're here to wreck the place. They really are. A big push for black male voters. They figure they got the black female vote all locked up, right? They don't care. That's in the bag. The party of crackers and plantations, they got the black female vote all locked up. But the black male vote, that's getting away. Now it kind of all makes sense now that Kamala, we got free money. We're going to legalize pot. We're going to and the free money is only for black males, right? It's only for black males, which is unconstitutional as hell. It's racist as hell. Supreme Court has ruled on things very much like this in the past, but they don't care. They want to pack the Supreme Court, so they give Hugo Chavez rulings every time something ends up before the court. And, because we've been hearing a lot lately out of not from most of the media, but out of the Kamala Harris household, there's been reporting about how, he knocked up the nanny. He was married, her husband, Doug Emhoff, was married to another woman before he married Kamala Harris. And how did that go? They had 2 kids, and then he had an eye for the school teacher. And, she's, the pictures of her today, at least, she's not exactly, but never mind that. And he said, hey, the teacher, we should have this teacher at our home as our nanny for our 2 kids. And his now ex-wife said, "That's a good idea, honey," and brought home the school teacher from the private school, $41,000 a year per student. And because they're simple people, they're of the people. And then he began a lurid sexual affair with the nanny, who was also the school teacher to the kids. And he impregnated her because she's not aware of the, 14 different forms of birth control available courtesy of the patriarchy. And so she became pregnant. And then, he did the right thing. He gave her a ride to the abortion place and gave her some cash. So that's in Democrat circles, that's doing the right thing. And then, then he dumped her, and then he dumped the wife, and he's got that tattooed daughter with scurvy and all that stuff, but never mind that. And then while he was a single guy, he brought his date to the Cannes Film Festival, and we learned recently that he smacked her so hard at the Cannes Film Festival that she went spinning around. And see, the Democrats are thinking, this will be good. This is part of their campaign, right? They're like, see, we got this going on. So, and I got a Glock, and here's some free pot, and here's a loan, which is not a loan at all because you don't have to pay it back. That means it's not a loan. As I like to point out, they use the words, but they don't know what they mean, right? Loan? What is a loan? Well, here's a loan you don't have to pay back. It's an offer you can't refuse. It's total gangsterism. 1 million loans, fully forgivable, up to $20,000 each. So 1 million times 20,000, right? How much is that now? 20,000 times 1 million. What is that, like $20 billion? And it's reparations. They won't call it that, and they don't know what that word means either. Pretty amazing stuff. And we're going to legalize pot for you, and we're going to have pot stores, and you get to run them all. Because, then I got high. Because you got that going for you. Isn't that amazing? The ABC fake news, they're very excited about all this. And the Democrat Party is nothing if not racist, and they always have been. And then that means the news media, too, because they're a gang of bootlicks for the Democrat Party and everything bad. Harris announces new plan to empower black men as drug dealers as she tries to energize them to vote for her. This is actually the ABC News headline. You're going to empower black men. How are you going to empower black men? Well, we're going to make them pot dealers, and we're going to let them smoke a lot of dope because we know this is how you win over the black male vote, right? So the Democrats have a plan. They're here to help. You know what I'm talking about? And Harris announced a new plan to empower black men because, smoking more dope and becoming a pot dealer is a way of empowering. And here's $20,000. It's a loan, wink, wink, but you don't have to pay it back or nothing because we're the Democrats, you see. And ABC News types on behalf, and actually they just published an Associated Press piece. It was good enough for them, and they're nothing if not lazy. Vice President Kamala Harris announced a plan on Monday to give black men more economic opportunities and other chances to thrive as she works to energize a key voting bloc that has Democrats concerned about a lack of enthusiasm. And, Barack Obama was out there last week, and he's talking about the brothers and how the brothers aren't. I took it when I was listening to him that I was not one of his brothers. Have you ever noticed that? That was my conclusion anyway. Harris' plan involves providing, quote, forgivable business loans. You get a loan but don't have to pay it back. That's a handout. That's a giveaway. That's not a loan. That's not what the word loan means, right? For black entrepreneurs, but not for white, Asian, or Latinx entrepreneurs, creating more apprenticeships. There are going to be more apprenticeships. And, of course, studying sickle cell, sickle cell anemia, the sickle cell disease. Going to study that because we're not already doing that. Hey, wait a minute. Slap yourself on the forehead with the heel of your hand. Why didn't we think of, looking into sickle cell anemia? We've been studying it for generations, of course, but never mind that. They're going to pretend that they just invented studying sickle cell. And a forgivable loan is not a loan at all. Harris has already said she supports legalizing marijuana. That's what ABC and these said. She's already said that. legalizing the marijuana. Black men have opportunities to participate in a national cannabis industry. That when the national cannabis industry takes place, because right now it's just like the neighborhood cannabis industry. It's the local neighborhood, the cannabis industry, the school cannabis industry. But they're going to go national with this cannabis industry as it takes shape, because the Democrats, they've got plans for you. That's what they have. Harris's new round of proposals includes a promise, you can't believe anything that she promises, that if elected, she will help distribute, that is, redistribute, 1 million loans of up to $20,000 that can be fully forgivable. Hey, I've got a loan, and it's fully forgivable, but I'm going to pay it back anyway. What? What? Well, but it's fully forgivable. Oh, yeah, never mind. I'm not really going to pay it back. It's just $20 billion. Not a thing at all. Fully forgivable for black entrepreneurs and others who have strong ideas to start businesses. When they say that, they're just lying. That's the just lying part right there. The vice president also wants to offer federal incentives to encourage more African-American men to train to be teachers, See, that's a separate thing. And is that going to win the vote? Is that going to win votes right there? Also pledging to expand existing federal programs, because we all love federal programs, don't we? That forgive some educational loans. That is more free money stuff. We're going to, hey, you've got loans that you took out voluntarily. We're going to pay those back, but based on race. Only if you're of a certain race, because God knows the Democrat Party is nothing if not racist. Vice President has advisors who have begun urging her to talk more about cryptocurrency. What is it with black people and I don't know, and cryptocurrency? I don't know really anything about cryptocurrency, so that one's beyond me. Harris also promised to create a national initiative to better fund efforts to detect, research, and combat sickle cell disease, and diabetes and prostate cancer. See, because that's they took a poll and like, hey, what are the issues? And maybe we could just throw stuff at that. The Democrat Party is a disgrace to everything sacred. Just amazing. Yeah, we did have Barack Obama last week talking about the brothers. And remember, he was caught. He wasn't on camera. He was just in a room, and somebody was met, and he was talking to the brothers, who are not white, because white people aren't his brothers, even though his mother was white, and his father was a brother from Kenya who abandoned him and the family and went back there to drink the rest of his life away and be a disaster. But never mind that. His white grandparents raised him after his white left-wing crazy mother abandoned him, left Barack on the doorstep of the grandparents, who sent him to the most exclusive private school in Hawaii, the Punahou School, and all that stuff. And Barack said, hey, you guys need to get out and vote for Kamala.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running.
Yeah.
Now,
you were popular.
I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
With the brothers, see? Well, that's, Joe Biden famously said that Barack Obama, what did he say about Barack Obama? He said he was the first mainstream black guy, right, to come along. I think he was talking about in American politics, Democrat Party politics. The first mainstream, not out of the mainstream black guy to come along.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
That's a storybook, man. He's the first African American guy to come along who's articulate, which is, like a dictionary definition of racist comment, and bright. First black guy to come along who's bright and clean. That's the one that should have ended his political career right there. But instead, he became vice president for 8 years under our first black president, who never should have been a Democrat in the first place. if we let history be our guide. Isn't that amazing? Man, oh, Manischewitz. Oh, yeah, we'll get to the Democrat Jew haters in New York yesterday, too. Big mob. 200 of them arrested. 200 arrested because they hate the Jews. They've even got the Jews hating the Jews now. That's the kind of influence the Democrat Party has, the kind of cultural impact they have. They've got their Jews hating the Jews. Let's grab a phone call, Michael. Let's go to Mike calling from Sunshine, Maryland. Miguel, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Chris, thanks for taking my call. I remember when Barack Obama tried to, gin up the voting bloc a few years ago. I think it was the midterms of his first term. I remember him saying something, I'm paraphrasing a bit. He said, quit your griping, quit your complaining, and, quote, put on your marching shoes. And, when you put all of your eggs in one, political basket, don't be surprised when you're taken totally for granted. And I think a lot of young men, African American men, black men, are feeling the being totally taken for granted, and they're thinking about voting for Donald Trump.
Well, I would certainly like to think so. I mean, as Ivan was saying, and Ivan's an old friend of our humble radio broadcast since our first days on the radio, and used to live around Washington, D.C., moved to Florida, but wake up, wake up, wake up. I've been saying wake up, wake up, wake up from the very beginning to African Americans. I've been living in D.C., in Washington, D.C. for like 37 years now, I think. And it's way past time to wake up. The government is not your daddy, and the government is not here to solve all your problems for you. And if you're depending on the government to solve all your problems for you, then your problems will never be solved because it's the government's business. It's the industry is to perpetuate what they're doing. Yeah, but the marching shoes, put on your marching shoes, is very militaristic, isn't it, Mike? And the Democrat Party taking the black vote for granted is older than Barack Obama, certainly. And the fact that they get away with it speaks to the corruption of news media that is just in the tank for the Democrat Party. And you think, who was it? Charles Barkley the other day, the video reemerged of him talking about, I've been voting Democrat, all my life, and everybody in my hometown is still poor, and we've been promised for generation after generation, the Democrats are going to fix all our problems for us. And we keep electing them over and over and over again, and our problems are never fixed. So how can that be? And honestly, being black and voting Democrat is like being Jewish and voting German. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think that the community organizer in Barack was probably that put on your marching shoes came out of his community organizing playbook. But also Kamala's new attempt at placating that voting bloc is so racist. I mean, it's sort of like, identity politics. Once you go, 100% identity politics, it comes out so tone deaf and so insulting to any person in that voting bloc. We're going to give you, we're going to let you sell marijuana, and we're going to forgive your loans for you.
Right.
That type of identity politics is backfires now.
Smoke pot, sell pot. Here's $20,000. Wink, wink. We'll call it a loan, but going in, never have to pay it back. I got a Glock. My husband beats women, knocks up the nanny, pays for the abortion, and drops her at a bus stop. So come on. What's wrong with us? Thing is, that's a Democrat thing. Doug Emhoff is a white guy, a Jewish guy. They're just low-caliber people, low-quality people. Let's be honest. It's not about their race. For them, it's all about their race. But Doug Emhoff puts the lie to that, doesn't he? And Kamala, she's got a Glock. What more do you need to know?
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
Now listen, I just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people.
Okay. Is it working?
You remember that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were going to ban menthol cigarettes, too. Then they discovered that was a problem when it comes to voting and getting black people to vote for them. So they said, all right, we're not going to ban menthol cigarettes anymore. Just keep smoking and dying and getting all kinds of diseases. But then they whispered quietly, we're still going to do it after the election. Because they're Democrats. You can't trust a thing they say. Let's grab a phone call. Let's go to Donna, calling from Frederick, Maryland. Oh, Donna, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Oh, good morning, Chris. Every day's an IQ test. Unbelievable what's going on.
Yes, it is.
And you're doing such a good job pointing it all out. What I've noticed, and I've done some research thanks to you and your group over there, I've learned to do a little digging myself. The African-American population, even women, are not happy with Kamala. And I feel like her whole campaign is starting to implode on her. And that brings me back to Obama. That blew up in his face. He was very condescending to the black men, and they did not take to that well. And then you look at Bill Clinton going out there, Mr. Lolita Express himself, talking about how we have to take care of the children. So in my humble opinion, it sounds like things are going south quickly, and Trump in one of his speeches basically inferred that they may replace her with a third candidate.
You know, that's fun. Donna, I saw that today, and you know who they're talking about, right?
I'm thinking Hillary.
Hillary is the correct answer. That's all the scuttlebutt. Hey, they're talking about dumping Kamala before the election, putting Hillary in there. That would be hilarious.